Hey, it's Nay. And welcome back to Nay's Little Garden and Home. So I made a small seed purchase. I think I told you guys about this in a previous video. I ordered 2 more tomato seeds. Did I need them? No. Did I want them? Yes. Do I have an actual, what I feel like is a genuine reason to purchase them? Yes. Grab your drink and a snack. I'm going to try to make this snappy, but let's talk about it. I ordered 2 seeds. The company is Fama Tomatoes, F-A-M-A. I think this to be a small business. There are 6 tomato varieties up. I did see this man on social media talking about this. I went ahead and got it. There is a cute little sticker involved. Very cute. I purchased this because this is long keeper tomatoes. Long keeper as in long keeper. So the first one we're going to talk about is this yellow tomato here. This is what it looks like. This is the Giu, I think. It's a yellow mutation of the Pinello del Vesuvio. I'm sorry if I butchered that. It's one of Mediterranean's legendary long storage tomato. It keeps for, you listening? Several months at room temperature, up to 10 months in good years. Yes, you heard me. I said months. I didn't say days. I didn't even say weeks. I said months. This is one of the main reasons I want to grow this. I am about to start this tomato in about the next 2 to 3 weeks. So it's right behind my main harvesting crop so that it gets harvested as close to my first frost date as possible, because I am not going to touch these tomatoes. I'm not going to touch the majority of these tomatoes if the flavor is fine to me until December. Like maybe I'll use a couple in Thanksgiving, but I want to push this. I am not going to assume it's going to be a good year, whatever that means. I am going to sit here and say, if this can last me 6 months, that would be insane. That would get you through the entirety of fall and winter. That's insane. And if you're really, like I said, I'm trying to push this to end as close to the last possible moment. If you're sitting there like, okay, October, November, December, January, February, March, this now enters spring. So in theory, and I'm going to be very dramatic right now. I'm not buying these to start fear. I'm just being very dramatic. If you can't ever pick up no tomatoes ever again from the grocery store, or they're just too high priced, there would be, if I'm going to be honest with you, right? And I'm not talking about frozen. I'm talking about fresh tomato right now. Because, of course, you can freeze and you can can. I'm talking about fresh tomato. You would be just a couple months in the entire year without tomatoes. Like without fresh tomatoes. And this is amazing to me, because you could close that loop by simply, right? Walk with me. If you know that, and I'm saying the 6 month mark, because this man is saying 10 months in good years. So if we cut a couple months out just to really give it a solid, fair shot. You could, in January, mind you, you get yourself the little Tom cherry tip, like the very small tomatoes that get 18 inches to 36 inches tall. Right? Nothing. Grow that in your house. Have one grow light. And you start them issues in January. You'll probably be harvesting those in the beginning of March, when this tomato you're wrapping up using these tomatoes. So you're literally closing the loop. And then you'll use your indoor tomatoes, right? Because you start your outdoor tomatoes inside in March, beginning of March, right? Beginning to end of March. And so then you have those fresh tomatoes from March till, let's say, depending on how many you grew, I'm going to lowball you and give you about a month and a half of that, sometime in early June, end of May. So that's so insane to me. Anyway, the next one I got was the Vesuvio Nero tomato. This is a black tomato. Now, this just looks like a very dark, and these are saladette sizes, so they're a little bigger than a cherry tomato, right? Saladette is bigger, which I thought was great. The yellow Pinello is 85 to 100 days, which is why I'm definitely going to start these sooner than later. And there's 15 seeds in both of them. The germination rate is 89%. I'm just going to give that 90%. And this was just tested in February of this 2026. Germination rate at 90% is kind of insane because at 15 seeds, they're basically guaranteeing you what, 10, 12, 11? That's a lot of seeds. So that's great. I'm probably going to start 2 or 3 of these. I really don't want anything insane because my goal is 1 to 2. The Vesuvio Nero is this is a new release for 2025-2026. Newly bred tomato by Hans Fama. So Fama, I'm assuming, is this man who owns this business. Combines the shelf life of the antique storage tomato cultivated around Mount Vesuvius with improved flavor, texture, vigor, and disease resistance of a modern tomato. This distinct dark green potato leaf plant produces an abundant salad-sized pear-shaped fruit with a nipple at the bottom, the classic shape associated with the Pinello tomatoes. Unlike the heirloom Pinello tomatoes, the fruit is reddish brown and have dark anthocyanin shoulders and green seed gel. The flavor is savory, rich tomato taste with balanced sweetness and acidity. Texture is firm and far less mealy than most other storage tomato. These have shown excellent shelf life in our trials, hanging for several months before any signs of spoilage. They also hold well on the plant. This is 85 days. So the yellow one is 85 to 100, and this one is 85. Several months is just such an insane thought process to me, being able to be like, yeah, I'm going to have fresh tomatoes for 6 months. This one is supposed to have that sweetness but acidic level, and this is more savory with a pinch of the sweet and acidity. I'm very excited for both of these, and I really hope these are great. So the black one actually is a 95% germination rate. I do feel like when you start hitting that 90% range for tomatoes, or honestly, well, I'm talking about tomatoes, you are much more likely to have closer to 100% germination rate, because I do feel like there have to be stuff. You have 15 seeds, you might get all 15 of those, because just because they're telling you their germination rate, they're kind of guaranteeing you out of 15, we're telling you are going to have about 11 or 12 of them sprout, but you might have all of those sprout, because each batch are not guaranteed that exact same percentage in terms of it's going to definitely be 95. It'll probably be higher. Might not be, but 95% is really good to me. That's all I really want to talk about in this video. I just want to give myself space. I'm going to try canning, and of course, I'm still going to freeze things. I want to start doing and growing things that don't require those type of things. So, of course, I'm going to have other tomatoes, and I'm going to freeze the tomatoes. I'm trying to can my tomatoes. But tomatoes that I can just leave out, like my winter squash, right? I just leave it for the rind to get a little tough, and that could store for 4 to 6 months. Things like that make it feel like you prepared for the colder months, right? Makes you feel like even if times got tough, even if things got a little, in any way, right? Maybe you lost your job, maybe you get sick, the times are tough, what's going on out in the world. You have food to some extent at home, right? Like, of course, a lot of us are used to multiple things on our plate, but if you had to, right, you could do a little pasta with the little tomatoes, little seasoning, and a winter squash, and maybe a side of little carrots, like things that do well. And I think I'm gonna do a video talking specifically about things you can grow, and you can grow them and not have to do much for them to store for at least a couple months. I think I did start one of my long storage tomatoes already. And we'll see how that goes. But I feel like that one was saying like 2 to 3 months, or 2 months, which I feel like that is a long time. But that's not going to get you through the cold times. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, in theory, you're sitting there, you could be like, okay, but it'd be cold outside. And it's so cold outside. If you needed to and you lost power for whatever reason, you could put stuff outside. Of course. I'm just saying, in theory, how can I minimize the needs of unnecessary stress and not putting all my eggs in one basket? Things like this would be that. And I'm so happy in this aspect to be here today, because the things that gardeners are doing and farmers are doing to cultivate things to help with the issues that we have, right? Whether that's disease problems and longevity and variety and different flavors while keeping disease resistance and all those things. What a time. What a time to be able to log on to the internet and find you 1,652 different tomato varieties. What a time to be here and be able to find you hundreds of pepper varieties, just the sweet ones, and then hundreds and hundreds more of spicy ones. What a time to be here and you can get something like a green stalk. You literally live in a townhouse, no backyard, just a little deck, and you can get you 2 green stalks and quite literally still grow peppers, tomatoes. I've seen people grow onions. I've seen people grow potato. I've seen people grow, of course, all the herbs, the teas, and green stalk. A little 2 square foot thing that grows up, and you can pick a cute color. What a time. And I know times are scary and can be very tough, but sometimes I think just for your sanity, your mental health, to sit there and think about some of the good things, right? Like, what a time that I can go online and just see about growing in grow bags, and then go online and pick up or go into a local store, a local greenhouse, maybe with a couple more specialty varieties. Because I've seen like some bush tomatoes being sold, right? And no, I could plant a tomato in a little 20-gallon grow bag and get a lot of tomatoes. What? How cool is that? Put a little small basil plant in there with it. So cool. So amazing. So fire. Anyway, I'm wishing nothing but greatness, happiness, joy, health, wealth on everyone. Y'all stay safe out there. Bye-bye.